I've already taken the still photos of the vehicle with an emphasis on panel gap alignment and any cosmetic imperfections or signs of workmanship issues. I've gotten detailed photos of that. Here on the video, what I do, it's more like a commentary as I do a walk around and I kind of just point things out as I see them. I'm standing about, I'd say about a good 8 feet away from the vehicle, so this is the way it presents itself. Unfortunately, it is a little dirty, so if there's any cosmetic imperfections, like some really small ones or issues with the paint or the clear coat, I won't be able to see it, right? Typically, you like to see this like really squeaky clean, so that way I can see everything. So I'll do the best I can given the conditions that we have. So I'm going to go ahead and just start walking in now. So it looks like, just from looking at the difference in the color tone, it looks like the front bumper has probably been repainted before, and that's common. Typically I say it's a given, right? It's a let me pass type of thing with the front and the rear, because that's what gets bumped, in the parking lots or what have you. So the shade is just slightly off, but it's nothing too obvious, right? And then I can see some cracks in the clear coat already as I push in a little bit here in this area right here. But again, I'm standing about a foot away, and it's not that obvious. Looking at the lenses, I always like to capture these. You can see where there's like some yellowing and clouding. This is the way it should look right here, right? So you can see the top of that. Something like this is common with the plastic headlamp covers, and there is a service out there, or there's plenty of service providers that can actually buff and clean this out to looks a lot better. And again, cosmetically, that's something that you'd want to do, but as far as its function, it still illuminates, right? Okay, I always like to tap on the bumpers a little bit, right? Make sure everything's nicely secured. Left side, same thing. You got the cloudiness there. Okay, again, nicely secured. Not seeing any issues. Grill's in pretty decent shape here. Panel gaps for right now look decent, but I do the final analysis when I'm back at the office. Let's get some paint meter readings, and here we want to see some consistency, right? That's 3. This is an electromagnetic paint meter. It reads paint finish to the thousandths of an inch. Okay, 3 and 3. So I'd say we're seeing some consistency here. That half a thousandth of an inch, or whatever you want to call that, I wouldn't be too critical on that. I typically go thousandths in either direction, or sometimes a little bit more. Looking at the windshield, I don't see any obvious signs of cracks, chips, or delamination. Then again, you can just see where that's all dust right there. Typically, I use a white glove, but there's no point because it's too dirty. And here is the shot of the public VIN, which I have a photo of as well. And then I like to get a quick view of the dash while I'm at this angle here. And what we're looking for are cosmetic imperfections or workmanship issues. Here's a quick view of the roof line, which I'll be taking some measurements here shortly. Okay, let's do the left fender. 3, 2.5, good. Looking at the left front wheel well area, I always like to get a shot of the inner portion, and what I'm looking for is any signs of impact from kicking up debris, right? This is typically where you would see it. There's a nice shot of the shock tower. Gives me an opportunity to look at this, and I still need to get underneath there as well, so I like to capture as many angles as possible to see if I pick up on anything. All right, that's a wheel well. The tire is a BF Goodrich, but if you look at the these tires are technically bald. It surpassed the wear lines right there. So first thing you'd want to do is either negotiate because you are going to need tires immediately, right? And you can see where it's just worn on the edges here. All right, so really the production date, well, let me see if I can see it really quick without spending too much time on this here. There's a DOT number right here, so there it is right there. So that might be 2011, I'm not sure. But at any rate, the tires need to be replaced. There's no way around that. And then I try to get a shot of the brake pad if I can, and we try to manipulate the camera a little better. Okay, and I'll have to review that later. Okay, when I'm down here, I like to get a side view of the panels, and what I'm looking for is any signs of waviness, dings, or dents. Right, so really for cosmetic issues is what I'm looking for right now. And then a shot of the outside mirror. I tap on that a little bit. Those seem to get banged up for whatever reason, right? Because maybe they're sticking out, but it looks pretty good. Glass, decent shape. Belt line trim, okay. It looks a little weathered, but still not cracked or deteriorated, right? I always like to look right here as well. You see all the little scratch marks right there. That's something that can usually get buffed out. Left door, 3, solid readings, 3.5. Rear door, 3, 2.5. Here, it looks like that's just a little scuff mark. And then just some more little scratches there. I'm not seeing any major dents or dings. But again, I still have to review everything. 2.53, looking good. Left rear wheel area, starting with the inner side there. Also looking for any signs of chrome. I'm not sure if this is a California car all its life, but if it is, you typically don't have to worry about rust. But if it's anywhere near the Rust Belt area, right, East Coast, that's something that I always look for and want to make sure everything's okay. Okay, again, tires are technically bald back here, so they're well beyond the wear bar. Those need to be replaced. There are drum brakes here in the rear, so I can't see the rotor or the brake pad. Right, rims look like they're in decent shape. Here, looking at the bumper, just got little scratches there. Okay, lens is on there properly. And I forgot if I got the reading back here. 3.5, 3. Oh, let me get the roof readings. 3. 2.5, 2.5. The reason I like to get paint meter readings on the roof is if you watch on the news, when protesters get all fired up, the first thing they like to do is it seems like to jump on the roof line, right? So I'm just checking for any signs of hidden damage. 3, 2.5, solid readings, right? Again, nothing really grabbing my attention here. Shade slightly off again on the bumper, but then again, it's made of a different material, so sometimes that's a factor. But again, it's nothing obvious, right? Rear glass looks good. You see where there's some smudges there on the glass itself. What I did here is I kind of wiped it clean where the defroster line is, because I need to check to make sure those aren't damaged. Because when they apply post-factory tint or film, whatever you want to call it, and if it's ever cleaned or removed, sometimes those get damaged, and if they are, the system will no longer work because it's like an open circuit. Just a quick view here of the roof line here from the rear view, right? And side view here, and then let's do that side view while I'm here, and I'll start working my way towards the rear of the tire. I've already taken a look at the gas filler area. Everything seems to be in order there. Let's get a quick shot here. Okay. And I like to look at these shocks as well to see if I see any exterior leaks, right? If they are leaking, then they would need to get replaced because it's ultimately a part failure. Okay, gaps look pretty good. Get those readings really quick. 2.5. Here, looking at the door, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3.5, and 2.5. So all the paint meter readings were pretty consistent across the board, which is an indication that it probably has all factory paint work and there shouldn't be any signs of structural damage, but I'll still check just to be on the safe side. And then the roof, again, it's got the solid readings as well. I'm gonna push back one more time before moving into the engine bay area and moving on. So on this function test, what we're gonna do here is I'm gonna start the car up. That way you can experience what I am, and we're gonna check to see how it starts. If it sounds sluggish or does it sound healthy or what have you. Also, we're gonna look at the instrument cluster too. We wanna see all those lights illuminate, right? Those fault lights indicators, because if everything's working properly, they should illuminate. And then after the vehicle has performed its self-diagnosis, they should clear within a second or two. Right, so here we go. Okay, oh, okay, well, there we go. All the lights are illuminating, and I'll double check that when I review the video. And then let me close the door. Idle is good. It has a nice healthy start, just around, just below 1,000, probably floating around 900. Also, what I'm going to do is I'm going to let the engine idle for about 15 or 20 minutes while I finish inspecting the rest of the vehicle. The reason I do that is because I want the engine to get nice and warm, right, or hot, I should say, but not overheating hot. Also, the heat of the engine will heat soak the suspension, so that way if there's any kind of looseness Hopefully I can pick it up when I go on the brief road test. Right. So just looking at the odometer here. All right, parking. Looks like the low tire pressure monitoring light is on, or tire warning. Okay, and let's look at that. Okay, temperature is around half, and fuel gauge is just above quarter. Okay. Let me make our way towards the back of the vehicle. Okay, the radio works. All right. Okay, so moving towards the back of the vehicle, what we're going to do is I'm going to get a quick shot of the exhaust, right? We don't want to see anything, right? So I'm back here now. Don't see anything, no smoke coming out, right? If had it been black, blue, gray, white, that all means something. So when it's blowing clear like that, that's a good sign. Here in the engine bay area, I always get a shot of the underside of the hood, right? Just to make sure everything looks good. I look at the nuts that secure the hood via the hinges, right? Right now, just listening to the engine, I don't hear any abnormal engine noises, coming from the bottom or the top end. I hear injectors just kind of ticking right now. I also look for any signs of rodent nesting, right? Because if that happens, they typically chew away at wires and hoses. So I am mindful of that. I've removed the oil filler cap. It looks decent in there. Also check the oil. Oil's okay. I could tell where they missed a couple of oil changes or waited too long because the dipsticks get stained and people don't know about cleaning that. I also got a shot of the engine belt. I didn't see any cracks. Again, I'll be reviewing the pictures when I lighten them up. Also, let's see if I can still open this. Okay, not too much pressure now, but I had it open earlier and I didn't see any signs of cross-contamination. Right, no oil in the coolant, right, and I didn't see no coolant in the oil when I checked that. Pulled the transmission dipstick kind of deep in there. Everything looked decent. Brake fluid, good. Right, the battery, I don't know if I mentioned this, but I also do a complete electrical systems check. Complete meaning the battery, the starter, and the alternator. Everything checked out good, right? Here's the results. Good. This needs a recharge. Typically, I see that on cars from dealerships because the cars do sit for a long period of time, or they get driven very few miles or short distances. Starter test cranking was normal. Yep, I didn't experience anything, and the charging indicating no problems. Right? And then this one final view here before we move on. All right.